And now we will continue with another lecture from our prominent trainer, Bible trainer, Gururaj, who is the head of Guasa Therapy Foundation, and he's leading specialist for in BioWell for meridians and Ayurveda. So, well, we are working on new software tabs, sub-programs for BioWell. And one of the programs that we are working on is 3 doshas. So maybe, well, for Western audience, the doshas are not so common. Many people have heard about meridians, but not so many have heard about doshas, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. But it's very interesting way of looking at the person too. And well, there are even online tests to detect and analyze yourself. You just pass the quiz online, and you can merely understand what is your constitution on Vata, Pitta, Kapha. And for example, why it's so interesting for you in daily life. For example, depending on your constitution, it is recommended or not recommended to have a nap during the daytime. For example, for some constitutions, it's completely forbidden to take naps during the day. If you take nap, then you will not get a sleep at the evening, at the night. Or for some constitutions, it's absolutely okay. They can sleep for like half an hour at the daytime, and they will be absolutely fine at the night. So in terms of nutrition, also, there are lots of interesting recommendations based on your constitution. So we have already developed a script that can be used inside the BioWell. Well, you need to click special buttons in the software in order to upload a script there. And then any scan that you do in the software, in the BioWell software, this script can analyze and give you the balance of these 3 doshas, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. And we have developed these scripts a couple of years ago. I think it was developed even before COVID, and then just everything got on pause because of these COVID restrictions, etc. So, but Gururaj has made a lot of experiments. He has done some correlation studies, and now once we will publish the correlation studies between the Ayurvedic device, Nadi Tanjarini device, that is able to detect and analyze the 3 doshas balance based on the pulse rate, the heart rate variability, then, well, if I am not wrong, then we will add a new tab to the BioWell software that will be called 3 doshas, where our software will be able to do this analysis without clicking a secret button and uploading scripts, but it will be just calculating these 3 doshas balance, and maybe even you know, highlight the most problematic ones for you. And if you are you will know a little bit about the 3 doshas interpretation, then it will be one more angle from which you can analyze the state of the person. So now I will give the word to Gururaj, and well, he's a little bit shy to present in real time because he says that maybe I will mix the words, etc. So he has specifically pre-recorded his session. So now we will listen to his first presentation devoted to doshas. And tomorrow he will present a separate lecture about meridians interpretation. So, well, from my perspective, if you want to be a really good specialist in BioWell and integrative medicine, you need to know as many different systems, different angles from which you can analyze the person as possible. So doshas, the Ayurveda approach, is one of them. Well, the chakras interpretation will be given to us by 2 specialists, one from United Arab Emirates, from Dubai, tomorrow morning, and at the evening will be a session by Russian psychologist, Elena Yanovskaya. Well, she's one of the eldest users and developers of the GDV technology, also about chakras interpretation. That's also Ayurvedic approach. So now Gururaj will speak about doshas and Ayurveda interpretation. So let's go.
Hello everyone, myself Gururaj from Meridian Vasa Foundation in India, and I'm very happy to be in this community to present a very interesting findings in Biowell. I have been using Biowell since 10 years, 11 years now in my clinical practice, and we have been relating the Biowell findings with the symptoms of the patients, with their changes, with the therapies. And it has been a routine process for us in the clinic where we take the Biowell readings of the patients before and after therapy. Most of us, we do this. Along the way, it was evident that Biowell was very accurate, and in most of the cases, it was able to give a very straightforward findings which the patient might be having. I am not using the word diagnosis deliberately. Well, in our journey, we came to know that most of the problems what the patients were facing were addressed in Ayurveda, were addressed through the deviations in the balance of doshas. So then we thought, okay, let's correlate these readings which we found in Bible with that of what we find in Ayurveda. Is it correlating? Does it have any meaning? Does it have any connection? And then there was a very interesting finding which we got. And that is what I'm going to discuss today with you all. I thank Dimitri, Dr. Koretko, for providing a platform wherein we can put forward our findings, and if it is practiced elsewhere, it would be very advantageous and very beneficial for the people with the knowledge of tridoshas, Ayurveda. So the topic which I will be covering today is a very interesting one, and the topic is detection of tridoshas, but using Biowell. We are not using any other equipments. Okay, so we will be using Biowell to detect the deviations in tridoshas. And for those who are new to this particular field of tridosha, tridosha means in Ayurveda we have three humors. Okay, I'll explain what that is later, but then initially let's understand it as Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So detecting the Vata, Pitta, Kapha deviation by taking a Biowell reading was what we found out in our clinical practice, and it was almost very accurate in most of the cases what we have done. And I again thank Dimitri for making a program, making a JavaScript which can calculate these Vata, Pitta, and Kapha from the Biowell software. So we'll be getting into those details. We'll be finding out how that was done, and probably this particular session might be useful for most of the practitioners who are using the Ayurvedic backgrounds, or who are using the knowledge of Ayurveda in your clinical cases. So let's begin. Before we get into the actual subject, let's understand what is Ayurveda. Let's understand a brief history about Ayurveda and why is it important to know about Ayurveda? What is there in it? And if you understand the history, if you know the history, then it becomes very, very important for us to understand what information and what is taking from that particular knowledge of Ayurveda we are going to get. And then, of course, we'll be also looking into how we are going to get into the calculations of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And then, how did we, correlate this with standardized equipments which are available in the market? So we are going to look into all of these parameters. But before we begin anything, let's look into what is Ayurveda. So Ayurveda is the science of life. It's how you lead your life. Yeah, we say in several cases, we say it as life routine processes. We say it as how are you going to manage your entire day from morning to sleep, from wake up to sleep. What's your daily routine? Isn't it? So this is Ayurveda. And the whole essence of Ayurveda, the whole teachings of Ayurveda comes from this aspect that how are you going to lead your life? That is the basics of Ayurveda. So Ayur here means what? Ayur means life. Ayur means what? It is life. And as you all know, Veda means knowledge. So let me tell you, as our age progresses, and if you are aspirant, if you are very desiring to get more and more knowledge into ourselves, let me tell you that we are following Ayurveda. The knowledge of life and the life becomes better and better and better with more acquired knowledge. So there is no full stop for knowledge, You only have a comma. You may pause sometime, but knowledge is abundant in this universe. And 24 hours is not sufficient sometimes to acquire this knowledge. So the science of life, how do you lead your life, the knowledge of that particular science is what is covered in Ayurveda. And basically, the Ayurveda texts are very old texts, very old. And it's around, they say 900 BC, and some say even before that. And it is now a renowned system of medicine in India. Not only India, I know across the globe, I know practitioners who are following Ayurveda now. It's more than 5,000-year-old system. And let me not tell that it's a system, but it's a practice. And most important is it's having a potentiality to cure many problems in a very, very effective manner. Very effective manner. That's why we say Ayu means life. Ayu in Sanskrit means life, and Veda means knowledge. So let's know more about the science of this particular life. So it was a part of one of the Vedas. We have 4 Vedas in our scripture, and it's part of one of the Veda called as Atharva Veda, ancient mythological contents, and the concept and essence of Ayurveda was actually revealed by Lord Brahma. He is supposed to be one of the superior divine beings. Veda Vyasa, the famous Rishi, then Bharadwaja. You might all be knowing about the first surgeon, Sushruta. Yeah. They all, started their journey in Ayurveda, bringing this particular knowledge to humans through Vedas. Vedas are the written documentary scripts, what we have about Ayurveda. So you have several books, such books which are available, which are thousands of years old. Atraya Samhita, Charaka Samrita, then Ashtanga Hridaya. These are all some of the very important books of Ayurveda. So it is not today's world where we have different departments. We have medicine, surgery, ENT, pediatric. It was provided at that particular time itself. Kaya Chikitsa, Salya Chikitsa, Salakya Chikitsa, Bala Chikitsa, Jara Chikitsa. It all gives treatments in different parts of the body. So Ayurveda not only dealt with how you're going to live your life, but it also dealt with how you're going to correct the problems in life. So all the parts, all the divisions were very, very clearly emphasized in Ayurveda. Further, we all know that every particle in this universe is composed of 5 basic elements, and those are called as Panchamahabhutas. What are they? Prithvi means earth, Apa or Jala means water, Teja, Agni means fire, Vayu, air, Nakasha, it's space or a void space, you can say. So these are the 5 elements which have formed every bit of matter on this universe. Every cell in our body are made out of these elements. Let me tell you, this is the basics. If we understand the 5 elements, then we can bring about changes in the systems very rapidly. There are several practitioners who work only on the 5 elements. They don't know the name of disease. They don't want to name it, but they know which element is affecting this particular disease, and they treat the element, and the symptoms are vanished. So these 5 elements combine inside the body, and they form what is called as doshas, dhatus, mala. These are all the components of the body, different parts of the body according to Ayurveda. And today, we are going to concentrate more on the Tridosha, the 3 humors. How are they formed? They are formed by 5 elements only. And they are nothing but your Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. These are the 3 humors in the body which are present in every cell, every tissue, every muscle, every organ, every system, and the whole of the organ system or organism, you can say, is under the control of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So there is no doubt that this concept of Tridosha, which was thousands of years old, had a tremendous amount of scientific basis behind it. So detecting this dosha, detecting these problems was somewhere a very, very important science those days. Only experienced practitioners could do that. So concentrating more on Tridosha. Yeah. As I told you, the entire universe is made out of 5 elements. Now the body, every cell of the body has a perfect balance of these elements. And when this balance is disturbed, when there is an imbalance in this particular system, then unhealthy condition develops, which we call as illness. So, for a problem to occur, for a deficiency or a symptom to occur in the body, there should be an imbalance in some of the element constituting that particular tissue, that particular cell. So, as you know, the Panchamahabhutas, Prithvi, the earth, it forms the shape. Simple. Any shape is to be formed, it is the work of the Prithvi. Your nose is like this, my ears are like this, my face is like this, my hand is like this. It is all because of the Prithvi element. Apa means water, humidity. Apa means jal. And you know, there is no life which can exist without water. If you put ourselves, if you take a tissue and put it under the microscope, you find 80 to 85% of it to be a cytoplasm. It's water. And water in its fourth phase, the plasma. So, water is one of the most important element which has a communication through all the other elements. So, Apa is very important. Water being very important for us in our living. Not only our means, it's whole living organisms, we can say. The plant kingdom, animal kingdom, all of them. Teja is the heat or the energy which is produced for creating a transformation, changing. Isn't it? Today morning, we all have taken some breakfast, or we have taken a lunch or dinner. And you know what happens? The body understands only constituents like proteins, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals. It doesn't understand the name of sandwich, burger, chapatis. Isn't it? Our body never understands that. Once these things enters the body, they have to be transformed into these micro elements, micromolecule, microchemical structures. And such transformation is done under the presence of Teja, the fire element. Of course, Vayu, which is one of the most important vital force in the body. Yeah, oxygen, for example. Without oxygen, no life. So, Vayu plays a very, very important role in respiration, breathing, and of course, the oxygen saturation in the blood. Very important. Along with space or Akasha, the Vayu has an additional role. What does it do? Along with the space, the Vayu carries a momentum or movement in the body. Anything which moves in your body is because of the Vayu and Akasha, space. So I usually, give simple examples so that we understand this. See, for example, this is a artery. Yeah, and there is a good blood circulation happening in the artery. Let's take it as a cardiac muscle, the artery supplying the cardiac muscle, the coronary artery. But unfortunately, what happens? Over a period of time, there might be some deposits. Yeah. And these deposits may lead to blockage. This is what we call it as blockage. isn't it? So what happens when there is a blockage? So whenever there is a blockage, the blood cannot pass through, and there is a very tiny space left for the blood to pass. So what exactly happened here? Here we say the space element or the akasha element is affected. The space is reduced, you see. So once the space is reduced, what happened to the movement? It reduced. So in old age, we say people cannot walk fast. They have joint pains, knee pain, quick movements are not possible. It's all related with these two elements, the akasha and the vayu. And ultimately what happens? When there is less movement, so you will have decreased nutrients and obviously decreased oxygen, leading to a condition called as hypoxia. Yeah, and this is what is going to lead to what is called as ischemic disease. Ischemia. Isn't it? The cells do not have sufficient oxygen and nutrient to develop, to produce ATP, energy from the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell. So what happens? The cell becomes weaker. So whenever you have weakness in the body, attribute that to vayu and akasha. So like these, every element in the body constitutes to different functions, and every cell has all the functions what we enumerate in biology. Every function is constituted by the 5 elements, right? Now, the most important is these 5 elements do not work independently, right? They do not work independently. They work in combination. And this function of when they work in combination, they create what is called as doshas. What's called as doshas are created. So when the 5 elements combine, they form 3 doshas. The doshas means what? It means, you can say, imbalance, impurity, etc. And the beauty of these things is it can affect not only the physical body, it affects the mental process. The psychological effect is also seen in a human being. Health is maintained when these doshas are in harmony, or you can say when they are in synchronized balance. Any imbalance in these 3 doshas leads to the development of a disease. And before the development of disease, you will have symptoms. You will have a lot of weakness, lot of dysfunction in the body, organ instability. Everything can be detected, right? So 3 doshas are, that's why, a very important concept which has been developed from directly 5 elements. Now, what are the elements combining to form what dosha? You see, the space and air combine to form vata. Okay, what is vata? Vata is nothing but a combination of the space element and air element. So just close your eyes and imagine any movement happening in the body. It is because of this dosha, the vata dosha. Anything which has to move, you require this dosha to be present there. That dosha should be dominant. Otherwise, it will not happen. Do we get that? Now we say that, blood is a liquid substance, but it has to move. It has to circulate. It cannot stay in one place, isn't it? So when it circulates, it's going to create a momentum. within the substance, and that momentum is given by the Vata dosha. Similarly, the fire element, and in some texts they say a little bit of water, but usually we say fire element, is for transformation. It's called as Pitta dosha. Right? For example, you eat something, as I told you, it has to get broken down into smaller micro chemical substance. For example, any carbohydrates you take has to be broken down into glucose. So this breaking down, transformation from one shape to another, one form to another, is with the Pitta dosha. Now, you're listening to this video, you're listening to this lecture. This has to get inside the brain and it has to get assimilated, you know. And that process of assimilation, you require the Pitta. Without that, it will not happen. This is called as Sadhaka Pitta, here, in the head area. And the most important of all is the water and earth element combining to form the Kapha dosha. Very, very important dosha, the Kapha dosha. Any growth in the body, any development in the body is only possible if the Kapha dosha is present and it is dominant. For example, growing children, we all know they grow, and that growth is because of Kapha dosha. But once you grow up and you meet with some, accidents, unfortunately, and you have a fracture, the bones has to ossify, isn't it? They have to rejoin. So this process of rejoining is aggravated when the Kapha dosha becomes dominant. So now you understand, understanding the three doshas in the body, understanding these three doshas in the body can give tremendous amount of information about ourselves, about the self well-being of the person. So these three doshas, the Vata, Pitta and Kapha, detection process is very, very interesting. Initially in the olden times, if you see, well, this is okay. In olden times, it was very experienced, Nadi practitioner, Ayurvedic practitioner, who used to hold the nadi, or at say the radial artery, and they used to analyze the pulse. And when you analyze the pulse, I'll show you this. When you analyze the pulse, it was so found that there were the deviations in Vata, Pitta and Kapha can be detected. But unfortunately, it required a lot of practice, lot of experience. See, I'll show you. This is how it was detected, like how you're seeing in the screen there, by using your hand. But too much of experience was required. And for you to detect the changes, it requires a lots and lots of practice. And this is subjective. A doctor, a practitioner who's looking at these nadi decides which dosha is deviating from norm, which dosha is prominent, dominant, which is deviating from the norm. So he will decide depending on his expertise. And then when patient goes to one more practitioner, what happens? He will also do, and with his knowledge, he will be ascertaining it. But it was more on subjective manner. There was no exact documentary evidences of such analysis of pulse diagnosis. Though we know that understanding Vata, Pitta, Kapha is very, very important Vata, Pitta, Kapha is, one of the most important primary understanding of the body. But unfortunately, the equipments were not present to measure it. So it was all done by Nadi Vaidyas and expert people in the particular field. But still, scientifically, it was subjective. Right? And understanding the nature of a pulse requires tremendous amount of expertise. Just with our fingers, it's very difficult. But then, how do we record the changes in Vata, Pitta, and Kapha? So this is where we in our center started with one of the understandings of tridoshas in a different way. As I told you, the tridoshas are because of the 5 elements. And these five elements control the 12 major meridians in the body. They control the 12 major meridians in the body. The fire element controls the heart, small intestines, pericardium, and triple warmer, though they are subsidiary, but still they are considered there. The earth element controls the stomach and the spleen meridian. The metal or air element controls the lung, large intestine meridian. The water element controls your urinary bladder and kidney meridian. And the wood, or you can say space, controls what? GB, gallbladder, and liver meridian. Now you see the same 5 elements in a different manner, in a different type of knowledge, shows something in connection with the meridians. And the same elements constitute to form the doshas. It's the same thing, isn't it? So, when we came across such findings in the meridian system, 12 major meridian system, we were able to get a particular understanding with that of doshas. And then, what did we do? We tried to link these findings of the meridians to the findings of the doshas. Say, for example, we say a fire element constitutes the Pitta dosha, isn't it? And Pitta dosha, fire element, is also controlling the heart, the small intestines, pericardium, and triple worm. Yeah? And then, to find out Pitta dosha, if you are able to get these readings of the meridians, then probably it is similar to that of Pitta dosha, because the element controlling both are same. It's the same element what we are talking about. The organs remain the same. Isn't it? The organs are not different. Meridian organs, dosha organs, they are not different. They are same. And in biowell, we are measuring, we are getting the measurements for these meridians. We are getting the measurements for these meridians ready. You don't need any additional scanning. You scan your 10 fingers, open the software, you have the yin yang tab ready there. You have all the readings of meridians. And all these meridians readings are already present. So, understanding the link between the meridians and the dosha through the 5 elements will provide us a way in which you can get the readings for the doshas without any additional scanning, with the same scanning what you have done. So we continued our studies in this way, and then we this is with your meridians which are getting connected, as I told you, and then we were able to link it with the 3 doshas. And finally, today we have hundreds of cases with the correlation of meridians and 3 doshas. Both are synchronizing. Ultimately, the whole goal is to find out the weakness in the organism, weakness in the person, weakness in the patient, so that we will be able to solve the problems. Let's look into this in further depth. Okay, these are the Ayurvedic doshas again for you. The slide, and of course, when we get into the depth of Ayurveda, when you're talking about the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, yeah, and usually in my classes, I teach about the solutions, very simple solutions. Like, for example, you see a male, yeah, a male has a dominant Pitta on the right side of the body, has a dominant Pitta on the right side of the body, and female has dominant Kapha, which is on the left side of the body. Usually, we call this as Ida and Pingala. That is what we get that, medical symbol, what you can say, right? So the right side of the body, if it is Pitta, and if a person is having a Pitta dosha, then immediately what do we do? The solution can be given just by inhibiting the energy circulation in the right side of the body to bringing down the activity of Pitta dosha. That's all what you're supposed to do. And so we give solutions, very simple solutions to the patients, and the result is very good. Right? So usually we take hours together, we start discussing on that, but for the time being, let's stick on to detection of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And these are the different areas, sense organs, which are connected with that. Yeah, the properties of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And of course, we are now in the process of detection, isn't it? So as I told you, subjective way of doing a pulse diagnosis. So any Vaidya you go, any experienced Ayurvedic doctor who's having a very good experience of Nadi checking with the fingers, they'll be doing this. And sometimes you do get a very accurate diagnosis, pulse diagnosis it's called as. Very important. 2, with Nadi Pariksha, it's a unique measure of individual health, identifies risk of upcoming disease, gives an idea of health status, identifies dosha imbalances, and of course it can diagnose. And let me tell you, there is no name of a disease in Ayurveda. In Ayurveda, it's all a combination, the permutation combination of the doshas. Okay, these names are given only for you to understand that, okay, it is related with glucose assimilation. Paralysis is Vata dosha, infertility, Kapha dosha, skin disease again, and hypertension, Pitta dosha, mental disorder, Vata dosha, like this, it's all just examples which are given. But remember, what do you measure in Bible? If you do a correct scanning in Bible, then it's a unique measurement for individual's health. Biowell can identify the risk of upcoming diseases. It gives an idea of the health status. And of course, now it identifies the dosha imbalances. So what this individual doctor is able to do with the fingers, the biowell can also detect the dosha imbalance. So then we are almost 80% done. We only need to know how, right? So this is what happens, when you take a nadi. Here you have vata, pitta, and kapha. Please keep these three things: vata, pitta, and kapha, and the pulse, which varies for these three. Yeah, one pulse which crawls like a snake is called a sarpagati, vata. It's quick, it's very quick pulse, very fast. So usually patients who have pulse rates about 90, 95, 100, usually it is a vata which would be prevailing in them. The pitta dosha is manduka gati. It's like a frog, how a frog jumps from one place to another. It jumps like this, isn't it? So your pulse will be jumping. It's called as manduka gati. And the pitta dosha will be dominant. And kapha dosha is hamsa. Hamsa means swan. Very slow, no turbulent movement. Very slow pulse if you have, it is a kapha dosha. But how are these three detected? Through the blood circulation. How much of blood is flowing in the artery? What is the wave which is created by the aorta? That is what is carried out in all of the arteries, isn't it? So that's what is a pulse, what we are all feeling. So the same thing we do with the doshas. And in different parts of the body, these doshas are dominant. For example, if you take vata, vata is dominant in your large intestines. It is dominant in your respiratory system, lungs. You understand? Large intestines and respiratory systems. I told you, when you talk about vata, how is vata created? Vata created by air and space. So, air element also controls your lungs and large intestine. So, obviously, the air is very dominant in these two organs. Apart from this, you have different other organs where the air element is dominant. Now you see, in Sanskrit, in Ayurveda, we have formula which says which organ is dominant in which dosha. For example, if you take vata, pakvashaya kati sakti shrotrasti sparshanendriyam sthanam vatasya tatrapi pakvadhanam visheshataha. Meaning, vata dosha is located in the parts of pakvashaya, colon, hips, lower limbs, ears, bones, and skin. Especially which part of the skin? Sparshanendriyam, the sensory system, sensory nervous system of the skin is mainly dominant in vata dosha. So if you have any imbalance in vata dosha, you are going to see the symptoms in these organs first, isn't it? And let me tell you, in biowell, we are getting the complete readings of colons, complete measurements of colons, right from appendix, blind gut, ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid, rectum. We are getting the complete reading of the colon, right? Then, of course, we have different parts of nervous system. readings, what you're getting in Bible. So what did we do is we combined that particular readings and then we made an average. I thank Dimitri for helping me in making the script, and I will demonstrate. I will show you the script as well, how it works. And then it immediately gives me a deviation in a particular dosha, right? So this is how we were able to detect the Vata dosha. Similarly, when you come to the sites of Pitta, where Pitta is more dominant in the body, yeah, same formula we use. We have a formula in Ayurveda. It's saying Nabhiramashaya Svedholasika Rudiram Rasaha Trak Sparshanam cha Pittasya Nabhiratra Visheshataha. Nabhi, umbilicus, stomach, sweat, serum, plasma, and lymph, blood, cardiovascular system, your heart, yeah, blood plasma, the eye, and skin again. And this time it is the dermis where we take. And you know what are they dominant in? Pitta. And most of these system are recorded in biology. Small intestines, of course, stomach, of course, eye, of course, cardiovascular system, all of the cardiovascular system is recorded. Isn't it? We have the readings of that. Brain function, of course, the brain when you take, we have the cortex. What is being recorded there? The sweat, which is being detected by the sympathetic and the parasympathetic imbalance in the body. So we are having almost all the readings ready for us. And finally, we have the Kapha dosha. Where all it is dominant in chest area, Varaha, Kantha, throat area, Shiraha, head area. Then Kloma Parvanyashmo, Kloma Parvanya Mashayo Rasaha. Yeah, Kloma means lungs, Parva means joints, Amashayaha, part of stomach, Medhodhanam cha jihva, cha afasya sutaramuraha. So medhas means adipose tissue, grana, nose, jihva, tongue. You know, there your kapha is more dominant. And most of these areas, again, we are getting the measurements from BioWell. So what did we do now? We used the BioWell software, and Dimitri created a script with all these sectors of the fingers, which are representing that particular organ or the meridian. So, you know, every finger is divided into different sectors. We all know about this. And each sector is connected with certain organs or the meridians, we say. And those meridians are now connected with doshas. And ultimately, we were able to get readings, the deviations of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha just by taking the measurement. You take the measurement, you got the readings with you. Now, how do we make it used in BioWell? Okay, I'll come to this later, but let me take you to the BioWell software and demonstrate a particular case. Right now, this is a case wise, just randomly we take some case. I have thousands of them, but let me take randomly few cases and demonstrate to you. So what was done is we created a script. As I told you, at this moment it is at the JavaScript level. So probably if the findings are validated in any journal, then definitely it will be included in the software, right? So when we got the JavaScript, yeah, if you can see this is a script, you know, and you see for Vata, all the sectors connecting the particular meridians are enumerated there. Got it? Then below you come for Pitta, you have all the sectors enumerated. and for kapha, you have all the sectors enumerated, and then they have been averaged, and we have found out how much of deviation this particular humor is showing in biowealth, right? So how do you do that? When we use the run button, immediately the calculations are done, and we have the deviations here below. Please see that. Deviation of V means vata, deviation of pitta, and deviation of kapha within seconds. And which is maximum? The maximum deviation is seen in the vata dosha, minimum deviation is seen in the pitta dosha, right? And of course, secondary will be your kapha dosha. So, we take multiple readings in biowealth. We don't stick on to one scan. So we repeat it with another scan. Let's find out what is there. The maximum deviation is shown in the vata dosha there, and the minimum deviation is shown in the pitta dosha. Same thing, it's repeating, isn't it? Which means that this particular individual will have the symptoms which are pitta, which will be on the lower side, vata, which will be on the higher side. So you can, in Ayurveda, we always tell it in combination. We say pitta vata. Yeah, pitta vata. I don't want to get into the details of any case, but I just want to show you the readings. Now, what did we do this? This particular reading, when we took the biowealth, we also tested this individual with a specialized equipment which is meant to take up with the vata, pitta, and kapha reading. See, where is it? Okay, here it's called as Nadi Tarangini. It's a equipment which is meant to take the vata, pitta, and kapha. It is a certified equipment. And what do they do? Instead of fingers, you have sensors. Okay, it's a air sensor. It's a patented system, they say. And it is being followed by most of the Ayurvedic doctors here in India and abroad as well. So what does this do? Keep the sensor on the nadi, on the radial artery. It will automatically detect the vata, pitta, and kapha for an individual. You understand? And they have done thousands of cases, I believe. And it is a patented technology, and it's one of the best known technologies to measure. This is a website of that, naditarangini.com. You can see here. And you see, the same manual system is now changed to sensor. And this will make us reading not subjective, but quantitative. You have the values now. It is not that what I feel. It is not what I should tell. The software or the readings which are taken by the sensors only depend on the position of how you're keeping the sensor. It has nothing to do with your senses. It has nothing to do with accuracy. It's only the position. Correct placement of sensor is all what is required, like how correct placement of fingers are required in biowealth. So no human intervention. So we get the results from this particular equipment called as Nadi Tarangini. And this equipment we used simultaneously along with biowealth at the same time for the patient. So when we did that, what did we get? The reading. So let me just show you the readings in this is a software of Nadi Tarangini, and let me come to the same patient. Okay. I should have kept it open anyway. Okay, so let me see if the report opens up quickly. Let's open up with the reports of Nadi Tarangini. And before it opens, so let us look into what was the finding in biowealth. In biowell, we found that the vata is aggravated, that's highly deviated, highest deviation, least deviation is seen in the pitta, which means that it is something to do with your vata and pitta. And usually in a combination, we say pitta vata or vata pitta. That would be the usual diagnosis whenever they do it with the equipments or in Ayurveda. Right now, this is a report of that particular same patient. And then here you see the pulse have been recorded. And you can see that this is a pulse which we have taken, and whatever is the gati, everything the software will do. We don't need to do anything there. So you see what's the pulse there? It's around 103, the tachycardia. It's called as tachycardia. And then anyway, I'm not interested in this point. I'm only interested in finding what this particular equipment is tell about the condition of vata, pitta and kapha for the patient. So when I came down, and here you see it gives you the finding. And what does it say? Pitta vata. Exactly the same finding which we found in biowell. And biowell, no additional scans. With the same scan, we were able to get the results. Let us see a few more cases. Well, I think I can take another 5 minutes. Please excuse me, so that we will be. We should never analyze anything with one scan. So we go ahead. Okay. Now let me take up some other case randomly. Okay, we take up this case. And then immediately we measure. And hope you are able to see the screen. I have chosen another random case and I'm just measuring it. And let me see, what did I get? Now here you see, I'm getting pitta dominant here. What is dominant there? It is pitta. But if you see vata and kapha, they are almost at the same level. They are not deviating much, isn't it? But the pitta is definitely seeming to be on the higher side, right? One scan says that. How about the second scan? So I come to the second scan and let me run the script. What is it? You see, pitta. Again, dominantly deviating from norm. So with 2 scans, if the results are same, so luckily we have the third scan of the patient. So let us just check that also. I have not done that. So let's just check. Here again, you see the pitta being on the highest dominant varying. So definitely this particular patient will show pitta dosha. Symptoms relating with pitta dosha. It is sure, confident. But let's check it, recheck it with the Nadi Tarangini or equipment which is meant for doing that. Okay, let me reiterate. The scans were done simultaneously. Okay, it is not that I have taken biowell now and Nadi Tarangini you do somewhere tomorrow or after tomorrow. No, immediately at the same time you have to take the scan. So which was the patient? Sorry. What is the patient name? Yes. So I come back to Nadi. I come back to the case. Okay, we have 2 visits here. So let me open up the report. Okay. And there in biowell, we evidently saw pitta deviation, isn't it? So let's see what happens in the Nadi report. Yeah, and this report is very authentic, very genuine. So we are only comparing the reports from BioWell to that of the Nadi Tarangini equipment, because that is one thing which is, that's one thing which is required for us to compare. It's very important. Always you should compare with certified equipment. So this is your pulse, which is recorded. Very good. So you have the Vata, you have the Pitta and Kapha, and you see the pulse is at 97 beats per minute, one reading, 95 beats per minute, one reading. But I know it is going to be on the higher side, but it's fine. But I want a reading of the deviation. What happened to the deviation? So when you came there, you'll see spot on. The Nadi Tarangini has diagnosed this to be a Pitta deviation, Pitta problem, right? Which means that BioWell readings, if you're taking the scans correctly, as mentioned and taught to you in your certification courses, right? Not like some people, they take the BioWell and they take the scans according to how they feel. That is not going to fetch you correct results. Always take the scans as it is taught in certification courses. That's why courses becomes very important, right? And you see, to comparing it with Nadi Tarangini, we have found that the Pitta dosha is definitely effective. So ultimately, what is the conclusion? The conclusion says that the readings which we are finding in BioWell is very much correlating with a standardized equipment which is meant for measuring the Vata, Pitta and Kapha dosha. So the results, how we are getting in BioWell is very accurate. As you can see below, I have hundreds of cases, hundreds of them, right? And most of the cases, I follow the meridian system and the Vata, Pitta and Kapha for understanding the problem in the patient, right? And in our trainings, in our teachings, you would have also undergone the 6 stages of illness according to Ayurvedic principles. It is in accordance with Ayurveda, right? So getting into the Vata, Pitta and Kapha, understanding the deviations of Vata, Pitta, Kapha becomes an important finding in BioWell. So I have plenty of other cases, but I think the time is running short. So finally, I would like to tell with my experience and with the records, what we have accumulated over a period of time, hundreds of cases, with correlation with standardized equipments, we have found that when you take a BioWell scan properly, you are having a ready calculation of the deviations of Vata, Pitta and Kapha, which is very, very accurate when compared with a standardized equipment meant for measuring the Vata, Pitta and Kapha. And in my clinical practice, the accuracy levels I can give is up to 92 to 93%. 93%, there is a correlation between the Nadi Tarangini and the BioWell equipment. So, without spending even a single paisa, you can utilize the knowledge which is present inside BioWell for your Vata, Pitta and Kapha. And the deviations, what you're going to get is definitely valid as per the results what we have got. And it is also symptomatically coinciding with the patients. So I again thank Dimitri, Dr. Korotko for providing me an opportunity to show you a little bit of Ayurvedic principles, to tell you that biowell equipment is powerful enough to give tremendous amount of information accurately, especially in relation with the ancient Vata, Pitta, Kapha doshas. Hope this findings will be helpful to most of the practitioners clinically and also researchers, those who are doing research. It will be one of the most important findings what we have found in our practice. Thank you very much.
Well, we'll thank a lot, Gururaj, for this first presentation about the doshas. Well, even for us, it's a new knowledge, and Gururaj is one of the leading specialists in this field. So if anyone wants to use this JavaScript, well, as long as we don't have yet the 3 doshas tab in the software, well, at the present moment, you can use the script. So you can address Gururaj, he has the script, you can address us, we can also share this small file that can help you to do this calculation manually. Well, but in the nearest future, we will add this software, this sub program to our software, and it will be done automatically with visual representation of the results.